Now that is a background. Good
Nice,
Lord.
Tessa.
Ah,
You got the magic in the background. I love it.
oh, it's so pretty. Look at those flowers too.
I mean, it's the time of year, so I'll give you a little.
Oh.
Look at the chickens.
So Neil,
Oh
we
my
always say that Tessa's farm, it's magical. Like it is like nothing else. It's incredible.
I think we drank wine on that porch, didn't we, Tessa?
Yes, plenty. This is your ribbon tree. You can like go through the ribbon tree for a little fun.
Is this farm open to the general public?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. If you ate today, thank a farmer. That's our thing.
Hello and welcome once again to another episode of One Thing. I am your host, Neil Bauer, and I'm joined as always by the lovely Kim and Jody from ePayments. A fresh approach to payments. Today we have an incredible guest. Jody, take it away.
Thank you. I am so thrilled to introduce our guest today, Tessa Edick. She is an author and activist. She's an entrepreneur. She's a farmer. She's the founder of many companies. She also is someone that inspires me and I truly admire, and we are really grateful to call her a friend, and we're thrilled to have her today. Tessa, could you be so kind as to tell people a little bit about yourself and what you're up to?
Hi guys, welcome to Empire Farm. I thought you'd give you a little taste of farm life, where everything you need to know starts here. You started in food and farming really by birth, growing up in an agricultural community inside of dairy farming, and what became a food business manufacturing food that went to grocery shelves around the country. I was really mindful of where those ingredients come from to make a food product that helps make cooking and eating easier. And then I started in FarmOn Foundation in the Hudson Valley, which is an awareness to where your food comes from and how we're going to inspire careers and agriculture that become valued and respected.
Very nice.
What we were just talking about, I mean, do you feel that up until this point, I mean, as our discussion, things were getting better, but that people have been very disconnected from their food source?
I think our main challenge in eating overall is the competitor of convenience. And so because the big business of food is in the business of salt, fat, crunch, brain stimulation to make you eat more, will make all you want, whatever it is that their agendas are, basically with poison for profits, we've left the farmer out of this decision-making opportunity for people to be connected to where their food comes from meeting their farmer and understanding how valuable food is to your health in preventing what is illness or disease, especially in a time where we live of pandemic, versus, reacting to symptoms or treating them. And in so much that fruits and vegetables aren't even part of our subsidy system. So the very thing that you're pushed to eat the most is not involved in the big business of food and agriculture, caused concern for me as it should for you.
Absolutely. I know I've seen, I don't know the best way to articulate this, but all of the different brain scans, and it's actually showing the energy or the aura coming out of fruits and vegetables and the different things that you eat. I think there was another podcast I was listening to, it might have been Jay Shetty, and he was talking about how he used to be addicted to chocolate when he was a kid, and now he has one cheat day a week. And he was talking to a neuroscientist, what you were just saying about brain health, and the neuroscientist was like, oh yeah, you should call it a cheat day because you're cheating yourself. You're cheating.
Cheating for longevity.
Yes. It isn't just, oh, this is convenience and I'll do it later, or I'll eat a tomato later. Like it is very much tied to brain function. And I think people always tie things to weight and necessity and how easy it is. And it's not about that at all, is it?
Well, actually, it's only about how you feel and look, and how is my day? How do I feel? How do I look? I mean, it's pretty much how we all go around as humans. I kind of derailed from that, caring about the bigger picture and the longer game. For some reason, someone had to go lobby for the farmer, tie it to economic development for the viable livelihood that must come, for the ability for you to even consider that how you look and feel comes from nutrition, nutrition density, freshness, proximity to food. And your body's a perfect machine. If you give it the proper fuel, it is going to run perfectly. I kind of joke, would you put a cheap gas in your Ferrari? No, you are going to go to painstaking lengths to make sure something so hand built, so valuable would have the perfect things in it to run perfectly. That's how I feel about my body. I feel like it's a Ferrari. I want it to work and optimize. I want my skin to be great. I want my mood to be regulated. I want to sleep well. I want to procreate, all these kind of things that are necessary for humanity, and getting back to, we're one human race. Like, I care about people overall. I don't care about division by gender or race or religion. I care about, we're more alike than different. We deserve to eat food from the land, and we deserve to be healthy. It's as much as a right as it is breathing and sleeping. And by the way, given that those are mostly free, you probably should invest in your food as the third component to make your life really amazing.
That's
Yes.
wonderful. As you talk about big picture, Tessa, and just kind of going back to where you came from and how you followed this passion, can you share with us, like, what's the one thing you would tell everybody about how to embrace this lifestyle and how to support their farmers and incorporate it into their daily life, no matter where they're at?
Well, I think eating is something so natural. It's as necessary as sleeping or breathing, and I don't think choosing happiness is anything but a choice. You must wake up every day and choose happiness. And in that same vein, you must wake up every day and choose what you're going to eat. And so we get into these things called happy meals. Don't do it. We get into these things called, convenience or grab and go or eating on the road and fast food. I mean, I really value how I feel and how I look. And so therefore I value what I put in my body. And so that becomes your choice as much as choosing the perfect shade of lipstick or picking the perfect golf club for your swing, or whatever it is that you do, the car you drive and how and why. Like, I understand that money and socioeconomics come into it. I understand the access to freshness versus convenience of a supermarket and long days and all these things. But whenever I kind of raid someone's fridge, to say, what are you eating that's healthy, and what are you eating that you think is healthy, and what are you eating that's really just poison, and people are making money off you because the real money comes from pharmaceuticals that they want to hook you on for life. How do you navigate in this choice of all these variables to make sure that you have a good, healthy foundation for whatever it is you choose? And so for me, I don't think it's really that hard to throw some seeds in the ground wherever you are, whether it's on a windowsill with some lettuce seed that grow up in 21 days and you can cut 3 times and never buy lettuce again, whether it's teaching a kid about a bean and how that grows, and that when that bean comes, you eat it. That is so empowering for a child, that will imprint them for the rest of their life. So these things that seem like a big undertaking of growing a farm or having this, or versus going to the supermarket, it's really not. It's just the mentality that has to come around it, as much as choosing happiness or getting a good night's sleep or not eating the whole bag of chips. And by the way, I'm all for like 70-30 lifestyle. 70% of the time, make sure your food is chemical free, make sure it supports somebody that's working hard, that will again put it back in your community for that rural urban divide connection, or for the economic engine that can support jobs and community development. these are all important factors every time you take a bite. Don't go around just spraying chemicals that the bees are being killed from so your lawn can look good. Why would you do that if you have a choice, right? So part of it is the information that you're provided with. Part of it is the convenience and time factor. Part of it is we're all in this rat race and we've been sold convenience and the salt, fat, crunch, brain stimulation, no different than any kind of feel good pill, makes you crunch more. It's really a lifestyle change. And I've never been on a diet and I don't think about dying or diet, and you shouldn't either. But I do think about, like, how do I want to feel good today? What makes me feel good? And in my age group, I look around too and I'm like, people don't cook anymore. Well, how do you survive? That's like
Right.
saying you sleep without a bed, right? I mean, I kind of don't understand it. So I encourage people to come visit us at the farm or visit any farm you can go to, meet your farmer, have a conversation, ask the questions you need to ask, and really get involved with putting a seed in the ground at some point. The age-old victory garden, which is something we sell and put together for people and start with school, because if you start at a young age imprinting them, they will carry that their whole life. So this
Right.
idea of a victory garden and growing your own food and empowering the people to sustainably source what they need and giving those rations up to the people that were fighting for you and the servicemen that were putting their life on the line so they also could be empowered in food. If that meant throwing a few seeds in your backyard and giving up what the allocation was for you to go to them, isn't that amazing? Like,
Yeah,
I love that.
we all get involved in that victory. It's a shared win.
Yes, yes,
exactly.
I love that.
So this is coming at a raging rapids pace. There are so many points that I would love to jump in, because everything that you've said has a corollary in my life, as I can see the ladies' reactions here too. It's resonating with them, which is a perfect segue into my one thing. So when I've worked with a lot of charities, I'm on the board of a lot of charities, and one of the biggest challenges is everybody cares about children, sick children in hospitals. Everybody cares about animals that are being mistreated. Everybody cares about climate and this thing when you're there, and then it's gone. It's fleeting when they don't see it. So the thing that you've been able to do here, and I'm super excited about all of this. What's your one thing? What's the one thing in keeping people on track or keeping people inspired for real change, like dietary change or food acquisition change? What's the one thing you'd recommend for bringing people down that path?
Well, it really is a tricky thing to recommend what people eat because one, it's very personal, right? If your mom made pasta sauce and put sugar in it, you like the way that tastes. If your mom grew the tomato and boiled them down all day, you like the way that tastes, right? So food is very personal. It's hard to recommend people what to eat or not to eat. But I do think that the freshest possible food, meaning the proximity and the harvest time to when you eat it, is the best way to optimize. Now, whether you get that at a farmer's market, in your fridge, at the local store, ask, where is this chicken from? When was this egg laid? What farm is it sourced from? How often do you get lettuce in? When was it cut? If it came from Mexico and it's a strawberry in January, what actually is the time and distance and carbon footprint of that strawberry? Now, of course, not everyone has time to go down this rabbit hole, but if you can think just in terms of either growing something or sourcing something that has a true freshness and a traceability to where it came from, you're doing your body a huge amount of favor eating something fresh with nutrition density, more so than you are doing making sure you eat 3 times a day.
Yeah.
At the
So
time,
it really is up to you how that interacts. And then, you get into mental health and how your mind works. Well, it's being run by the nutrition put in your body. It's being run by fresh air and clean water that you take in. It's being run by, what you're ordering and eating and being strict about all these organic things and food and baby food making that go into children. But are they eating it off a Dawn washed spoon? Are they sleeping in Tide? What is the balance in your life of chemicals overall, whether it's food or lifestyle around you? you
Wow.
start to get deeper in the hole of saying, what do I value? What does it
Yeah.
cost me? What do I want to feel and look like? And it's very, very personal. So I think it's extraordinarily hard to go out and tell someone, grow a garden, buy this food, cook this way, live this life. No, you have to take tiny pieces from each of those opportunities and put it into your life and assess. How do I sleep? What's my sex drive? How is everyone acting? What mood is there? Is it up and down? Map it out. But this gets into terroir, it gets into clean water, it gets into clean air, it gets into how we move food. Think about how much food is wasted in this country. People are
Oh,
all
yeah.
into food waste and whatever
Everything.
this is. It's so crazy that in communities, the farmers market, which is coming back and being more valued, isn't part of our everyday of exchange, and that we're cooking together and we're preserving food and we're feeding the poor and we're moving through restaurants correctly, not just based on food cost and money, but how we're buying from the farms and making people feel amazing when they eat at the restaurant, not just stuffed, right?
Yes.
So all these are longer life lessons and changes that choose you if you allow it. They're here for the taking, but you have to make the decision. And I really don't like to should people. I think it's so rude because everyone has their own way and their own thinking. But where food comes in, I mean, it's so easy, really, once you get into the habit of switching your habit.
I would love for you to talk a little bit about how you went into the farming spectrum as a female. Like, you just don't see someone owning a farm and doing what you're doing as a female, and it's so impressive, and big picture, it's doing so much for our world. But how do you encourage other young girls or women to embrace this lifestyle and move into it?
Well, the saddest part about that is it's actually the opposite. Women do run farms and women are in charge, but men are the face because
Yes.
they are strong and they are burly and they are fearless and they are capable and they have more stamina and all these things, which is not true, right? We're more alike than different. So it has to do with culture and lifestyle and all these things. But you look globally and women run farms. You look in America and women have a second job that's paying to sustain the farm while
Good
they
point.
run the books and the family that helps and the labor and works with them and sets up the day and makes sure all the other chores in a day that have to do with just staying alive and keeping a house and feeding a family, in addition to the second job called working on the farm, which really they lead. So somehow women are in the background, even though we're the divine beings that bring beings here. I don't know why that still remains, but here we are. Second, we have the economic situation, which is extremely difficult because we don't pay fairly for food. There's not a viable living wage that people can survive on. They're basically paying us to eat, which is abysmal when you think about it. Third, there's a horrifically hard work element of endurance that must take place if you're going to work on a farm and get up at 3 a.m. to milk cows so that they
Yeah.
can be milked 12 hours later and take care of the babies and endure the criticism of the separation for the milk to the feed the impoverished people. You know, it's such a complex situation. So the woman part of it is such a huge role in it. And I think just getting your voice and feeling like you're part of the system and that no one is better, stronger, or more able than someone else. It also has to do with just women in general in entrepreneurships. I mean, if you think about breastfeeding a newborn and that it takes like 1900 hours, my friend told me, in a year, and a regular full-time job with 3 weeks off takes 1800 hours in a year. I mean, they're doing that on top of working full-time. Like, are you kidding me? You know, so
Yeah.
you really just have to be smart like a woman to use every resource you have to pull it together to find what lane of success you could possibly get to in a undervalued, beaten down industry called farming. And you have a twofold beating. One is just being a woman, and two is the overall value that people have for the farm in general, which
Mhm.
typically comes to value health when it's gone. So if we can get back to food as medicine, if we can use the woman inspiration as the nurturer and feeding and inspire more people to do that, male and female, young and old, to get back to the kitchen, recenter the table as a treasured, valuable resource. What is the resurgence of the table as the center of family values, right? And in COVID, where it locked you in, you tended to be with the people closest, right? So bread making became everything
Right.
that was kitchen based became the center. I don't think I've left the kitchen since, February 2020. So thinking about all these things you want to preserve and keep and eat off season and where that is becomes a lifestyle. And just as much as sleeping is a part of your life, food and cooking has to be part of your life. And if you want to reshape that, go right ahead.
Yeah. Well, and I think this generation too, it's so different because I always tell people, like, COVID was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I have teenagers and kids in sports, and they're running a million different directions, and we're going through Chick-fil-A and we're not eating together. And during COVID, my husband and I were like, we should have a rule that even once a week that the kids miss practice. Then who's running this family? We are. And we sit down, because you're saying all these things that are actually can be tied to spirituality in a sense, because it is spiritual. We're connected to the plant. We're connected, as humans, to sit down together and have that connection. But I think
Why
you've answered
anyone never
that
tell me that? Why
question.
did anyone ever tell me that? How come nobody told us these things?
Well, and you know what? You are the embodiment of beauty, intellect, and health
That's
to
very
me.
generous.
Yes.
That's very
You
generous.
you are, but so like for our audiences, because we've covered so much ground, Tessa, how can our audience and people who are new, how can they come and spend time with you on the farm? Please, we're going to have everything in the notes and everything, but please tell us how they can donate, contribute, or come out and volunteer, like you were saying, an hour a year. Or like Jody and I were very lucky to have come there as a corporate party to do business meetings and get to be out on the farm and eat your wonderful food. And it was an experience of a lifetime. Like, I still can't even believe, I'm so honored. And I sometimes it blows my mind that I even got to come spend time there. So could you tell us how people could get involved?
I'm so humbled by your generous compliments, and everyone's welcome. Everything you ever need to know, you learn on a farm. I think corporate retreats are an amazing opportunity for you to focus on an experience learning, a team building share, and what you take out of it is so powerful. A lot of those are a great way to come. You can come for a weekend. We do all kind of like women's group to talk about how to lift each other up and find success. We do outdoor sporting events, or the derby that we broadcasted outdoor on the barn, and guys can have like a roast over the open fire and cook with some famous chef and do whatever they do as guys. We have all kinds of family things. You can come just for a few hours with your kids, whether it's in a pumpkin patch or you pick flowers and flower crowns, or coming through our hemp fields and learning how powerful cannabis and CBD is and how you can be involved in that. There's ways to invest with us through that to help us raise money. And then there's flat out giving, that nobody gives money without asking, and I'm asking. We need your help.
Yeah.
We rely on your donations to survive. A farm like this is $1 million a year. We employ 20 people, and we're really just working for this model to scale. So we have a proven model that's 4 quadrants of earning, that has to do with a cash crop, a community involvement, a product line, and education, agritourism, to get the community involved and lend it to other farms to plug in to offset seasonality and single income revenue streams. So we're happy to talk to you. We're welcoming you to come here. You can stay overnight. You can book for the day. We have lots of options. So just get in touch, farmon.org, and IG FarmOn, and we'll help show you the way to better lifestyle.
I applaud you, Tessa, because I came from a similar background and ran from it also, as you probably remember. And you have done such just an incredible job of just changing the perception of what a farm looks like and the spirit of it. And I don't say that just to blow smoke up your butt. Like your farm is magical. Like it really is. Like Kim shared it, it keeps a place in your heart. Like I just
Oh,
everybody to
I want to
experience
cry.
it.
That's so amazing.
It's so true.
We have this, thank you so much. We have this annual Hoot Nanny, and this year we couldn't do it, a big sit down dinner. That's our annual benefit that brings in 100 grand. And we had to do like a deconstructed farm basket. So it's all these prepared foods and provisions from all the different farms we go together, and you can come and sit on the farm or eat in the farm or take it away. And we call it a Hoot Nanny because it's just in that spirit, but we just really want people to come and get involved and eat fresh food. And if you just have that small action and take that initiative to come visit and eat something important and meet beautiful people, I hope that stays with you. And we launched it this weekend, and every single person that came out of the, like 80 different groups that came through over the long weekend, every single one of us wrote us saying how magical it was, and that they left with this like newfound energy to eat right and feel good. And it just warmed my heart to think what we're doing actually matters, because it is not easy and it is not cheap, and cash flow is a constant nightmare, and keeping people employed and motivated on hot buggy days or soaking wet as it's been all summer to harvest your food when it's pouring rain for hours is people don't think about how grateful you can be to someone. If you ate today, thank a farmer.
Right.
It's so important. Thank you so much for having me. It was
Thank you,
Oh,
Tessa,
God,
for being
thank
here. It
you.
was
Well,
wonderful.
Bye. Come visit
Bye,
Empire Farm.
Tessa.
Love you.
love you so
Bye.
much.
Bye.
FarmOn Foundation, I started with the idea of filling a succession gap in farming. Who's going to feed us in the future? Where is our food going to come from? Empire Farm offers an opportunity for the community and for beginning farmers to get a start in connecting to their food source. This immersive experience of getting your hands dirty, manufacturing, culinary skills, leads to ideas that make for a successful business. If we can put these young people into a business on a farm, we change the way food moves. We change the system of food, of economics, and rural prosperity. FarmOn is a model that's replicable, it's scalable. You can plug it in other communities. You can build rural prosperity from this idea. This is at the heart of FarmOn. This is what we're doing to change the way we eat.